I just have a feeling we might need this later.
You never know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here we are, ready to embark on a new worship venture here in the midst of life in a pandemic, and continuing to kind of try and follow the council's priorities. Kind of throughout the council has really been trying very hard to provide kind of the safest worship opportunities that kind of meet everybody's needs at the same time too, whether it's safety, spirituality, logistics. Some people lost rides in the midst of this and can't travel as much as they used to. And then trying to keep up with the science and what scientists and doctors are telling us in terms of the way the virus spreads and the things we can do to be safe. And so there have been kind of three things that we've been trying to focus on in terms of the way the virus spreads, in terms of droplets, aerosols, and surfaces, right? And so in the letter, masks, keeping distance, and being outside when we can were the ways that we tried to address droplets, and the way that the virus moves around via droplets. Improve ventilation, the air filters we're trying to get installed, and then limited singing, speaking, mass, and distance, again, were ways that we were trying to counteract the way aerosols move around. And then, of course, we've got the greatest cleaning person in the world, Pete DeGeorge. And so Pete is on disinfecting surfaces and hopefully not, but he's ready to sanitize the worship space if we do have a positive exposure within the worship space. Yeah, and so then beyond that, the bishop's office has given us some recommendations, and we've heard what's happening in local congregations. Excuse me, and then what's happening nationally, and what's happening nationally. And so we've just been trying to take all this in and compile it over time, and you don't need me to tell you this, but the council has been cautious and wants to go slow, and is really taking kind of both their fiscal responsibility and their spiritual responsibility kind of very seriously in terms of wanting to keep everybody as safe as they can. Yeah, so the letter kind of outlines everything you need to know in terms of what we're hoping for. We'll have great ushers there that day, the 25th, that will kind of just will be much nicer than people in the TSA line, telling you how to take your shoes off and where to put things, and the folks will be especially helpful, and worship will be different. But we're hoping that that being able to be in the space and having some familiar things around will be helpful. We know it's been really hard to be outside of the sanctuary, and we know that's a really important part of people's spirituality. Some people are fine in front of a screen, others it's not. And so, like we say, the council really wants to, again, while they want to keep everybody safe, they also want to make sure everybody's needs are being met. And so we hope that this is a good first step, and in terms of the way safety goes, I'm sure the council is thinking that then this opens us up to being able to do this more. So that's really all I probably need to say, except for to answer questions or to tell you specific things, if I can do that. Jill said we got 15.
Yeah. 15 people are already signed up, and we have 44 spaces in the sanctuary, and then 10 in the parking lot if people want to be broadcasted to outside.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So get your reservations in quickly.
And Jill's here to sign you up now if you want.
Yep. Okay, Linda for one. Gotcha.
Just a side comment. I do appreciate that during the summer that we have been able to go to YouTube or directly at the time of the services to be able to, attend.
Yep.
And, whether it was at the time of the service or if it was later on, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. I think we're going to continue to get better. We're going to get a little bit higher quality, a little better quality in terms of what we're offering and when we're offering it. So I hope that
Yeah,
is,
for what it's worth, last Sunday, I know I was having some problems with the coming through the radio not being really clear.
yeah, I'm not sure what happened. The week before we had a problem with it too, and so I'm just not quite sure. I'm not sure how Les missed it. Les is the master, so.
He said there was something going on with the broadcast, the FM.
The station.
Yeah.
Channel.
So he wasn't sure why it kept cutting out.
And it's funny how the weather impact has impacted it throughout. So depending on how much cloud cover we have, we've had a different kind of experience. So. Yeah.
So can we revisit the weekly church attendance in person?
Yeah, absolutely, Dan.
Because I think every other church in the neighborhood, a bunch of them are having weekly services with, obviously the limitations, but for us to have only 3 services and none on Christmas, I'm totally in disagreement with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that's been a big, disappointment for a lot of people. Us being on Zoom, I'm not sure how survey responses, how council members kind of read that and heard that, because people did give good feedback and I know they appreciated that, but I'm just not sure how they heard that, Dan, in terms of how they, you know what I mean? Because that it's kind of always been this, that safety's been the thing that's the most important.
Well, I agree that you got to be safe, but every
Sure.
other church in the neighborhood could have services, and I don't understand why we can't. What's prohibiting
Yeah.
us from that as a council, as a church, as a group? I think, with what do we get, 50 people a week, and we don't worship usually more than 110 anyway. So, I mean, I think this should have been opened up a number of weeks ago, and I think I haven't heard of any problems at the other neighborhood churches with COVID being spread.
Yeah, it seems like you say, St. Raymond's is the one that we're kind of keeping our eye on because it's the biggest. And yeah, I haven't heard anything. We do know that a couple of the smaller Lutheran churches, ELCA congregations, have opted to not come back yet. I know Trinity Lutheran Church in Des Plaines has opted not to worship until 2021, and I think Martha and Mary, Lutheran Church Martha and Mary, is still doing online, primarily online.
What Southminster is, I think Our Savior Lutheran is.
Yeah, they have.
There's a number of churches in the neighborhood, so
yeah,
that
no,
are
I'm not
doing weekly things. So
yeah, no, I understand, and two, I probably just to draw out a little bit from the letter, I think it was kind of caution again and safety, but I think as they see, as we do it, I think and as we kind of find that, like you say, that we can do it safely and people are going to follow, whatever needs to be followed. I think they're going to be. I think that'll help. I think that'll get people over what's going to happen kind of uncertainty. You mentioned Our Savior's. Our Savior's had a positive case in worship for 2 weeks, and we haven't heard back from them about whether or not safety measures helped or not keep the spread. I think that that's the, I think that it did, I haven't heard anything negative about things that happen at Our Savior's, and beyond that, someone came with who have been exposed. But I think like you said, Dan, in your survey responses, Red, I think we really are trying to do what we can to care for ourselves and to have community, and to be able to be stronger in that way, to be able to get to the point where we're living with this, and being as safe as we can, but also, you know, doing the things we need to do. And so, you know, I think the council will continue to hear all that, and you know, anything you want to tell them or talk to them, please feel free. They're not gonna hear it as you know, you know, they want to hear that from you. So I hope it'll be received well, no matter what. So. Christmas, the other thing I can speak to, and I think worship and music and council both were really bummed out that was the direction we had to go, in terms of just doing a recorded Christmas service. But logistically, they couldn't figure out how they would turn people away. And how that they would be able to structure it in a way that that they could have the people that they wanted in the time frame that they wanted, and also to be able to, you know, kind of offer something good. And I think conversations kind of led people to think the best thing that we could do with the most music and the most like kind of authentic feel for Christmas will be to pre-record it. So we'll see how that unfolds, but that was kind of their thinking there. Anything else I can speak to? Tim, what's the prelude and postlude this week?
Prelude is a piece by Bach.
Okay.
Postlude is an arrangement of A Mighty Fortress by Charles Orr.
Cool. And you have some, we have some, I'm trying to think what else I was going to ask you. Anyway. Cool. There'll be some more resources published as the week goes on, just in terms more about the logistics, and we'll again, like I say, keep being in touch with council folks and stay on them, and you know, I think we'll find that the safety precautions will be good, and we'll just keep doing what we can, and hopefully building again more options so that everybody's getting what they need. All right, friends. Well, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. If there are any other questions I can answer, feel free to email me. If you want to, like I say, if you want to continue talking to council members, please reach out to them as well. Otherwise, we'll continue to just be overjoyed when we get to see you. So, all right. Thank you all.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
I.
I